Luigi Mangione. Don't know anything about the guy except that he allegedly may be he's the suspect or person of interest, the guy who may have ended Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare. I genuinely feel sad. I know I'm not the only one, but I actually feel sad. Like, what he did was terrible, but who he did it to was even more terrible. And it's just sad. If this is really him, so sad that he wasted his life, ruined his life, threw his life away. Supposedly he lived in Hawaii for a while. He's obviously fit, obviously beautiful, valedictorian, good-looking guy. And there is Brian Thompson, who was ended on Wednesday morning, allegedly and potentially by him, 26-year-old, 50-year-old. So he came from money. Luigi Mangione's sprawling family found success after patriarch's rise, his grandfather, I guess. So I screen recorded some of this. I'm not going to read it all, but it's really heartbreaking that such a young, promising man. So back in the 70s, when he was questioned, I'd say because I'm a Mangione, his grandpa died in 2008, self-made millionaire, had 10 children, excelling in athletics, Loyola University, and Luigi had been the valedictorian of the 2016 class at a private school. Apparently it was $44,000 a year to go there. And he apparently wrote deny, defend, and depose on the bullet casings, according to reports. So it seems like his family was in healthcare, local healthcare companies. Then they were contributing more than $1 million to the hospital starting in 1983. Every one of the family's grandchildren, including Luigi, was born at GBMC, a tradition so ingrained. The family foundation. So they're Italian, or the grandpa was. Let's see, it's going too fast, but family had a lot of money, a lot of success. They purchased, I think it's a country club or something, founded a nursing home, an assisted living company called Lorien Health. So they're like somehow tied into healthcare and insurance. The grandpa didn't have 2 nickels to rub together when his father died when he was 11, yet he became a millionaire. And, so I am curious about, what brought this man, this young man, to this place. And one of the cousins was in Maryland, delegates. I just don't know what would put him under. And that's the thing, the majority of people, it seems, except for those who want to act like they can't fathom it, most people seem to understand or have sympathy, because most people have had either personal, first-hand experience with suffering through the medical system, or someone they love. In my case, my father. My father was dragged through the coals, and just so many things that he went through, so many things that my mom had to deal with because of insurance, lack of coverage, and, overall terrible treatment, and throwing pharmaceuticals at it. And at one point my dad had 13, 14 prescriptions, and half of them were meant to counterbalance or counteract the other half. And it was horrible. And none of the things that he really needed to heal or get better were explained to him. It was just surgery and pharmaceuticals and crazy bills. And he died in 2013, and it was horrific. And lots of suffering in the meantime. And my mom was buried with all those bills, and, she's doing okay now, 10 years after he passed away. But she certainly was struggling for many, many years, and struggling to get the kind of care, when he needed 24/7 live-in care, and the care that was covered was just horrific. And then she ended up having to pay out of her pocket for somebody because it was a nightmare for all of us. And then he had to keep being moved back and forth from different facilities because, this one only would cover for 20 days. And then he had to go somewhere else. And it was so disruptive. And the quality of his life was very, very poor at the end, in large part because of the awful medical system, which is intricately woven into the healthcare, the insurance. Anyway, back to Luigi and the sympathy that so many people seem to feel. I sincerely, genuinely, I am shocked at myself. Because as I've said in other videos, I am a nonviolent person. I'm vegan. I have taken a vow of ahimsa, a vow to do no harm, and I do live that way. But as I also talked about in the videos where I did about the parable of the ship captain, the Buddhist story about a bodhisattva ship captain who had to end somebody on the ship because it was the most compassionate thing to do, because that person intended to harm everybody else. And the thing is that I heard, what was his name? It was the Tom Hartman program. This was the video. Where's the United Healthcare CEO? And he talks about how in order to have that kind of a job, in order to have the kind of job that with the stroke of your pen you could end thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, you must be a psychopath. And the hypocrisy, I get it. We're not supposed to just do, the V word out on the street. And nobody wants vigilantes. Nobody wants chaos and violence to be the way. But chaos and violence is the way of many corporate industries. And while they might package it up in some kind of white lab coat or little blue box or whatever it is that they do to make it look all copacetic and kosher, the fact is they are committing atrocities and murders daily. And they're profiting from it as well. So while I do believe that he will be charged and convicted, because I don't think that people will actually, say, well, let him go, unless it's not really him, unless somehow there's just something so fishy in the air, unless it's just too perfect of a story. And like somebody else pointed out, they never actually showed his face on the video, did they? They showed a video where you could see the back of him. They saw the rest of the video, right? The cops saw the whole video, so maybe they saw his face. But we saw a picture of somebody at a place wearing a similar jacket, and then they were like, that's him, snatch, snatch, and he just happened to have everything on him. I don't know, it's so weird, it's so sus, it's so fishy, something smells really bad in here. And it's certainly the lack of health care in this country and the terrible crooks that got